Austin's premier men's rugby club, also known as the White Men Cup. Today, we honor our fallen
Yeah.
Known as the White Men Cup.
and all those who
Derby
have
Day.
suffered. For more information on ALS, visit the ALS Association at alsa.org. Please take a moment of silence to honor Maria Just Wiley and all that have been affected by this disease. Thank you. Please rise and remove your hats for the singing of our national anthem. Today's anthem, Joe Gardner.
I'm not talking over the anthem. It's the most highly anticipated day of the Austin Rugby calendar. It's Derby Day in the capital city, and that means it's time for the Blacks and the Huns, the first Austin intercity rivalry of 2017. Get a flag shot or something, but we'll wait. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a warm and windy Huns Field in Austin, Texas, for the first intercity rivalry of 2017. Alongside Grant Cole, I'm Kit McConico. Highly anticipated is this Derby Day here in the capital city. So glad you could join us from across the state, across the country, and across the world. So we now take a look at the keys to today's match. First, for the visiting Blacks.
Blacks are going to have to do what they do best, and that's score fast, early, and often. They're also going to have to win the set pieces, every single one of them, lineouts and scrums, and they're going to have to disrupt the Huns' game plan at the breakdown in order to maintain possession.
And now the keys for the Huns.
The Huns have three letters they go by: ETA, execution skills, tactical decision-making, and attack the game line. Coach Laffey says if they do these three things well, they'll come away today a happy man.
And the players to keep an eye on in today's match. For the Blacks, it's the center, Levy Coretti.
Levy Coretti's our primary decision-maker in that back line. He's going to be responsible for distributing the ball to the speedsters. He's also going to be responsible for closing up that 12 channel that the Huns like to attack so much.
And for the Huns, keep an eye on their fantastic flanker, Hanko Hermeshuis.
Hermeshuis is the man who attacks that 12 channel so much. He's also going to snipe the post a lot when he sees it open, and Hermeshuis is going to be big on defense in getting possession for the Huns.
Starting lineups and opening kick when we come back.
Son. Oh, that was sexy.
Welcome you to Huns Field as we have just started the beginning of the first half. We apologize there for our late entry into this Derby Day match alongside Grant Cole. I'm Kit Meconico. 2 minutes in, still no score. The Blacks in, well, you might imagine the Black going from left to right, the Huns in their traditional sky blue and white, right to left. The Huns have never, ever beaten the Blacks in any division in the 24 years of play. They're hoping today will be the day they snap the streak.
Yeah, the Blacks have already committed two penalties here. The Huns have kicked a touch for the first line out, and they're going for their second line out now at the 5-meter line. So it's really going the Huns' way early on as they're attacking inside the Blacks' 22.
Average age of the Huns, 24.5. Average age of the Blacks, 29. You can call that maturity, call that experience, but the one thing they will take is the fact that they have never lost in this Derby Day matchup, and they don't want today to be the first. It is the 50th anniversary of the founding of the Austin Blacks. They were established back in 1967. They are hoping this will be the years. They have fallen in the Division I Men's Club Championship each of the past 2 years. There's Hanko Hermeshuis, the flanker we mentioned in the open to keep an eye on. A fantastic young player, a great talent, is the vice captain, the 20-year-old originally from Kimberley, South Africa.
Yeah, you're going to see a lot of a big battle up front today. You've got Sam Rook and Troy Mussey back at the front row for the Blacks. Siaosi Fanau, he's at his first start at hooker for the Blacks today up there. And then, of course, Tim Fitzgerald, David LeMasters, and Mason Peterson up front for the Huns.
Our referee today is Scott Green. Butch Neuenschwander and Kelly Hodge will be on the sides with the flags. Fans continuing to come out.
That was a big, strong drive by the Huns there.
Huns looking to strike first on the far side.
And it's try time to the Huns.
Brian Wellborn able to do it, the native Austinite. He has never beaten the Huns. The 34-year-old, the Westlake High product, puts the Huns up early.
5-0 to the Huns. Wellborn's try definitely comes off a strong Huns scrum here. Reed gets the ball out to Wellborn. Wellborn breaks a tackle, dives in. Matt Radzovich is not going to stop him at 5 meters out.
Brian Wellborn, one of a pair of twins on the Huns roster. His brother Craig in the reserves, as is the twin brother of the hooker David LeMasters, his brother Sean. A very young twin pair, just 19 years of age. Came up from Rock Rugby, but for the Wellborns, they've played numerous matches against the Blacks. I actually spoke with Craig earlier, and he said, we've never come out. We're hoping today is the day. The conversion will be with the wind at its back, actually wind going across the field into the stands, seated on the far side.
The French under-19 player, Timothy Guillemin, at fly half with the kick.
Guillemin, the 20-year-old from Bernay, France, and it will not be on a line, is not able to split the uprights, and it stays 5-0 Huns early on.
Yeah, and so as the Blacks come back to the line, they're going to want to use this wind to their advantage, get a nice high kick, get up under it, and try and get possession of this restart.
There's Levi Coretti. He was the key, the man to keep an eye on, the 35-year-old inside center from San Antonio, a very explosive talent, is number 12 in black. Juricevic, not only a player, is the fly half, but also the head coach, originally from Aberdeen, Scotland. Juricevic to put it back into play.
Juricevic with that sure-footed high ball. He gets up, and the Blacks try and get up under it. It looks like they've got possession for sure.
And the Blacks have it, making meters at the gain line. To Juricevic, now Coretti. Tackled by Hermeshuis. Juricevic into the hands of Vince Jobo, another South African.
There's already a bit of love taps going on out there.
Well, there's no love lost between these two teams.
None
Make
at all.
no mistake about it. They know each other. They share the capital city. As you see the 19-year-old hooker, David LeMasters. Take a look at the starters quickly. Here they are for the Blacks.
Sam Rook, Siaosi Fanau, Troy Mussey, as we've talked about. Eric Reed, the capped American Eagle. Ty Terrazone, the Air Force captain. Nathan Rankin, Connor Bertrand, All-American. Vince Jojobo from the Cheetahs and the Kings down in South Africa. Knut O'Donnell, Davenport University. Tane Juricevic, Antonio Wynn, Levi Coretti, Dave Comerford, Matt Radzovich, and Adam Armstrong.
Well, Terrazone, the lock there, the 34-year-old you mentioned, the Air Force Academy product. He used to fly fighter jets. That's probably about as cool as a previous job as anyone on the field had.
And now he recruits and makes sure that military men coming out of the service get jobs out here in the world.
Our first look at Tongo, Big Lomani Tongo, the center and the captain, the 33-year-old native of Auckland, New Zealand.
And Terrazone's also a model in Diamond Shamrock commercials, if you didn't know that.
Learn something new every time I hang out with you. Out to the outside, H.P. Moore into the hands of LeMasters. LeMasters on the side. He was looking to get it back. That time he was trying to find Sani. And here are the starters.
Tim Fitzgerald, David LeMasters, and Mason Pedersen, Kyle Breitenbach, Brian Welburn, Matt H.P. Moore, Hank Hermischeis, Dion Menard, Michael Reed, Timothy Guillemin, Sonny Taylor, and Pierce Reed are at the wings. Lamani Tongo, Martin Canetza are in the midfield, and in the back, C.J. DeVette on the subs, Troy Spencer, Robert Drummond, Phil Kankles, Hanson, who we hope comes in, Craig Welburn, Corey Momsen, Aaron Bone, Jody Reyes, and Andrew Hiller. And we've already got somebody coming off for looks like blood.
The visitors making a quick change. It'll be Jamel Shaw, number 23, coming on for the Blacks.
For Matt Radzovich. Radzovich looks to be visiting the medics tent again.
And that would be a big loss. Radzovich, the right wing, a former Austin Hun in his own right, native of Austin. He is a great player, always a threat. They'll be trying to get him on as quickly as possible after attended to by the training staff. As Reed to put it in, scrum to the Huns. Reed to Guillemin. Bypasses Tongo.
Goes to Sonny Taylor.
At the 22-meter line.
Unfortunate kick through by Guillemin as he goes into the ruck.
The 10-meter line, and now the Blacks have it.
Highly defensive game so far. We've really only been playing between the 22s so far.
Terrazone and Juricevic kicks, and it will find its way into touch.
And a little bit overcooked Juricevic. He wanted to find that thing in touch and bounce it out. The wind got behind it, and it went out on the full. When you kick it from in front of your own 22, if it goes straight into touch, then it's coming back to a line out to the other team where you kicked it out from.
Juricevic, very impressive player and a coach, was a member of Scotland's under-19 7 squad before coming stateside to continue his playing and coaching career. 10 minutes in, and it's 5-0. Huns on top, courtesy of the try from Brian Welburn. Line out to the Huns. Taken along, in and out of the hands of Menard. Dropped off for Jobo, the number 8, and a quick whistle.
So there's a knock on by Menard in the line out, and then there's a forward pass by Connor Bertrand as he was passing to Jobo, and it looks like that we're going to come back to the first knock on by Menard.
Take a look, and you see Jobo, and then coming in, big Eric Reed. Reed, 40 years old, the oldest player on the pitch, but probably the biggest at 6'8".
Definitely the biggest, and probably got some of the most experience out there. He definitely wants to come out today and show some of these young bucks that the old man still has it.
Former Miami University of Ohio player, also played club for the Lions of Chicago, on back there in San Diego, and the Westonians of Scotland, also a member, most impressively, of the USA Eagles national team. It'll be scrum to the Blacks at the Huns 10-meter line. A warm and windy day, as we mentioned, temperatures above 80 degrees. We'll see how that affects both of these sides as we progress further and further. Herman Schwies makes himself known.
And there's...
Introduces himself to the scrum half, Knut O'Donnell.
And Tim Fitzgerald is penalized there for coming in and at an angle as Scott as Scott Green says, across the face of the scrum.
Adam Schweiss, he was a under 17, 18, 19, and 20 All-American. We've seen him already with the U.S. Eagles national team, and his future very, very bright.
Oh, yes, definitely. As we've said, he's the man who leads from the front. People want to follow him, and he definitely gets out there. As you saw on that scrum, he got off the scrum quickly, was all over Newt O'Donnell. If there would have been no penalty there, definitely would have put the Blacks on the back foot on offense.
When you're only 20 years of age and you get the respect that he does, that speaks volumes. The line out tipped back. Huns have it deep in their own end.
Pierce Reed with the collection.
Pierce Reed, one of those native Texans, the Houston Lamar product. A nice move as the kick goes the other way, but bounces into touch.
So he had advantage. Penalty advantage was on for the Huns there with an offsides by Black. And Guillermin went ahead and kicked ahead anyway. Gains the penalty advantage. Now he gets a penalty kick from a little bit farther ahead than he was.
Mentioned Guillermin, the 20-year-old fly half from France. He was on the French national under 16 and 18 teams.
He may want that one back. He had an extra 10 meters on the kick before that.
The Huns bringing a lot of talent, a nice mix of international talent in the local for the Austin Huns. Their first-year head coach, Eugene Alafi-Elof, the South African. Herman Schweiss with a head of steam.
Connor Bertrand takes him down after getting fended.
Guillermin looking outside, brought down quickly.
C.J. DeVette with a clean take.
DeVette, another South African, a first-year player, the fullback from there in the Southern Hemisphere.
And the call there, no clear release by the tackler. Jamel Ray did not release after he got the ball carrier to ground.
We saw an early try just about 2.5 minutes in from the Huns, but it has been a stalemate. And as you mentioned, the majority of the match being played in the center.
Yeah, between the 22s. Big defensive match. And in a day like today where it's 80 degrees on a day when it's usually 50, that's going to be a tiring day for everybody.
War of attrition. We'll see who can come the hardest.
So this line out right in front of us. LeMasters throws. He's getting it down, and let's see what he's got there to begin with.
Product of Rock Rugby up in Round Rock, Texas, in Williamson County. Back it goes Taylor. Taylor finds a seam. Taylor looking to offload into the hands of Menard. Menard kicks over the top. Going toward the try line. Menard unable to get back on it. And the Blacks have it.
Blacks have it, but barely. And there is a knock-on there by the Blacks as they went to ground.
It'll be a knock-on, as you said, by Antonio Wynn, the Indiana native, former Hoosier.
With that beautiful, beautiful curly-Q mustache.
That is a thing of
excellence.
It is magnificent. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. You know, there's a lot of Indiana boys out there. Knute O'Donnell, he's from Culver Military Academy. He's from Osceola, Indiana himself. Well, Culver Academy produces a lot of great rugby players.
But no one with a mustache like that.
No one's got that kind of Antonio Wynn mustache.
That is about as Austin as it gets right there. We've got to ask him what kind of mustache wax he uses.
I don't think he uses wax. He's got to use some kind of cement to get that curly Q going.
Well, it's the same stuff that our referee Scott Green is using, if I had to hazard a guess.
You know, Scott Green has surpassed Kurt Weaver with the best hair in the refereeing corps. I mean, it's wonderful what Scott's done with his hair. He grew it out a little. He put the good cement in. It doesn't move when he's on the pitch anymore.
Well, I saw him down for the America's Cup match there, the USA and Uruguay in San Antonio, and it didn't move all the way through. The 80th minute, it looked as good as it did in the opening minute.
Weaver Fever's got some competition now.
Scrum to the Huns. Tongo. Offloads on the far side. Reed taken down nicely, back on his feet. Good tackle there of the speedster Pierce Reed. Knocked back, losing ground, the Huns.
Knocked forward there by Breitenbach.
We haven't mentioned Kyle Breitenbach, just 23 years old, another South African native. And he's a very talented player. As he's gotten older, he's moved inside. He started out as a wing when he was 5 years old, as a lot of South Africans do, and he says, I'm bigger, I'm stronger, but I still have the same hands.
Well, when you grow up running barefoot on the veld with the ball, I mean, that's what happens. You're always going to start off as a back until you move into the forwards.
Scrum to the Blacks inside their own 22-meter line. See Big Sam Rook. Rook, he may be a loose head prop, is number 1 for the Blacks, but the native of Shrewsbury, England, former A&M Aggie, he can score.
He can score. He knows where the try line is, and sometimes he gets himself into position in the weirdest plays, and if he's 20 meters out with a head of steam, he's so hard to stop.
Came over to the States in his teenage years and immediately continued his rugby career, which was a great boon to the team he joined there in the College Station area, and former Dallas Harlequins member as well. Coretti now.
Coretti and Hammerschweiss have had a rough day today.
Keep an eye on the two of them.
They've been all over each other.
Oh, and the kick, got a piece of it, did Bradenbach, and the Huns now back with it. Reed.
LeMasters with the take and the counterattack.
And Bradenbach busting through and is able to deflect the would-be kick. Guillemot, Hermeshuis, Tongo. And the big man bowling forward. Sent out by Hermeshuis. Wellborn keeps it. Reed there with the tackle. Guillemot looking for space on the outside. Hermeshuis.
Oh, that was a brilliant little pass.
Out to Taylor. Taylor sheds one tackle. Taylor dots it down. Did he step out of bounds?
David Comerford seems to think he did, but
he did
Butch
not.
Neuenschwander has the last word on that, and Butch Neuenschwander says no.
And you're exactly right. The outside center, Comerford, pointing to the line, saying his toe hit it. Butch Neuenschwander right there is one of the better referees anywhere. It says, I saw it perfectly. He did not. And the Huns extend their lead, courtesy of Sonny Taylor.
Taylor's a big man. You usually pay it. Here's the replay, and Hermesschweiss with a brilliant pass out. If Taylor stepped out, he stepped out before he had the ball, which doesn't matter at that point.
And Taylor, the native of Honolulu, Hawaii, former Hawaii Harlequin and Wellington Axeman, dots it down. And Guillemot will try to extend the Huns lead with the conversion. That wind whipping around. He missed his first opportunity. It was short and wide right.
Looks like after this kick we're going to have a brief respite while the ref does a radio switch out.
Conversion from Guillemot. Splits the post, up and true. And the Huns with the try courtesy of Taylor, Sonny Taylor, and the conversion from Timothée Guillemot. 12-0, Huns on top of the Blacks halfway through the first 40 minutes.
And while we're changing out radios here,
referee Green speaking with the captains, Tongo of the Huns and Terrazone of the Blacks. Again, Terrazone, the former Air Force Academy fighter jet pilot. He was with the Air Force men's national team there and bounced around, obviously, in the service. Played some club rugby in Pensacola, Florida, also in Raleigh, North Carolina, before landing here in the capital of the great state of Texas.
It looks like our brief respite's off. We got a new touch judge, Greg Varnell, on this side. It looks like Butch Neuenschwander has pulled up a little bit.
Always have that fourth official in case something does happen.
It's been a long day here. This is the third of rugby match of the day. Varnell ref this first one, Neuenschwander the second one, and now Green. And Mitch Pryor on the other side, or Kelly Hodges is on the other side. This is his first match at TR today.
There's a look at the hair.
Look at that
on Mr. Scott Green. That's as good as it gets.
Yeah,
I've got to talk to him post-match and get some tips.
I'm sure he'll tell you who his person is, who his people are.
And as you said, this is the third match of the day here in the the Austin inter-city rivalry, as we had Division 2, then Division 3 rather, then Division 2, and now on to the Division 1, the Elites.
High hanger again, but Breitenbach gets up in the air for it and is a clean take for the Huns.
Taken nicely by the 23-year-old Locke. Guillemot puts a big boot to it. It will stay in play.
Jojobo with the take.
Jojobo around the tackle of Pierce Reed and then brought down by Brian Wellborn.
Nice tackle by Wellborn, wrapped up. That was almost textbook. They write
Wellborn and his brother, very good high school football players, and they've transitioned as to very good rugby players. You take a look at scrum half Michael Reed, the Durban, South Africa native, another one of those South Africans on a team. Well, you might expect if you take a look at the coaching staff.
Yes, exactly. I mean, Coach Laffey, he's comes from this Baby Box. He coached the Baby Box in their win over the Baby Blacks in the Junior World Cup years ago. Danny DeVilliers from down there, and then you've got C.J. DeVette in the back line, who's also a coach at their fullback position.
Line out to the Huns on the far side, and you already see the pace of, to the Blacks rather, and you see the pace of play slowing down from both teams. It is warm.
It is warm here, unseasonably warm.
The Blacks will have it on the line out. Still looking for their first points, trailing 12-0 in the 24th minute. Stolen away. Menard able to rise above and take it. Now Reed. Gieman again shows off his kicking boot as that one will find its way into touch on the far side right in front of the fans. The fans coming out here, and what a great atmosphere this is for the fans with the newly erected stands and you've got the great food, all the entertainment pre and post match.
And then, of course the band afterwards, and there's, good, nice little post-match social here afterwards. They've got a really good atmosphere, what they've done here. I got up into the VIP area earlier, and it was really nice up there. They've got a TV up there showing other matches. It's good stuff.
How'd you get in there?
I just asked.
Okay. Yeah, got to really credit the president owner, Richard Osborne, the GM, Terry Dalpine. They do a fantastic job. Here's Rugby continues to grow, the fastest growing team sport in the country.
Ganetza there with a nice little seam, finds the half gap and exploits it. He's brought down, though, directly afterwards.
Guillemot. Wellborn. Offloads nicely. Breitenbach steps over, pushes one would-be tackler away over the 10-meter.
You've got to work, and Coretti, of course, the man to bring Breitenbach down. There's there's numbers if the Blacks want to use it over here.
Guillemot tried to pop it over the top with a kick, but
went out on the full. You're going to bring it back to where he kicked it out at.
Antonio Wynn with that majestic mustache. A 23-year-old from South Bend, Indiana, and former IU Hoosier.
I don't think we're going to get over that. He didn't have that mustache when he played in the CRC in Philadelphia. He was fast. He was a standout player on the day there, but I don't think he had that mustache.
Oh, he's a speedster, and you could always pick him out, but now you don't have any choice.
Yeah.
Blacks with the line out. Just inside the 10-meter.
Ty Terrazone cleans it up.
Terrazone able to sidestep. Making meters. Finally goes to ground. Juricevic over the top. Oh, into the face of Ganetza. And now Shaw. Quick restart.
Taylor with quick start gets it back into Menard, who
sees some room on the far side, finds the speedster Reed. Reed with a gap. Reed, Wynn the only man to beat. And Wynn able to wrestle him down.
Huns still have possession, though.
Huns fans really liking this fast, free-flowing rugby that has been brought to them by Laffey Eloff. Is Tongo. HP Moore now.
Moore, again, taking more than one person to take him down.
And in and out of the hands.
And Mason Peterson.
The tight head brought Peterson. Peterson, one of the youngest players at just 20 years old, unable to hold on to it.
Canute O'Donnell.
All the way back to Divert.
DeVet's gonna
rather,
pick that up
excuse
at the
me.
22. He's already touched it, so he doesn't want to kick it.
O'Donnell, Juricevic. Out to Terrazone. Terrazone right into the teeth of the Huns defense.
Penalty advantage is on for a dangerous tackle. And there's still some.
Adam Armstrong, the fullback, at the halfway line.
Scott Green calls that an accidental high tackle, and he just wants to, it looks like, and he'll call that when he sees somebody has ducked a tackle out. And,
take another look at Romani Tongo as he will use his head, if you will, pun intended, to deflect the.
Somebody needs to check the ball to make sure that thing's still inflated. It hadn't taken a Tom Brady moment.
Tongo, one of my favorite players. He's a great personality. He's fun to talk to. He's just a huge man, but off the field, one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. They're the New Zealand native who played professionally in Japan and in his home country. And you and I you were nice enough to send out a sheet to these players getting some information, and Tongo said, he pronounced my name Money. Yeah, you can't argue with that. He's a machine, and there's a reason he's the captain for the Huns. 33 years old, 5'11", 245 pounds, and moves extremely quickly.
Sayosi Fanau is going to be doing the throw-in duties for the Blacks today.
Fanau, one of those Arkansas State products, the hooker for the Blacks, and you talk about a great college program.
Oh, it's a wonderful college program.
Takes it short. Bounces back, gives the Huns defense time to close in. Terrazone to Rook. Big Sam Rook over. And now Tongo with it into the hands of Knetza. Tongo said, look what I found. Reed spins it out quickly. Now Giemann. Hermeshuis cannot get by Eric Reed.
Couldn't get by Ty Terrazone, wrapped around his calf.
Terrazone low, Reed high. Not going to get by those guys. Is Pierce Reed now.
I'm really amazed today by the amount of support the Huns have when they pass to the outside. A lot of times in club rugby, you're going to see a wing break away like that, and he's almost by himself most days. But Pierce Reed, I mean, here you go with the replay. It's a little forward pass. Brayton back just a little too fast. Giemann gets it forward to him, and we're going to come back for the scrum. As I was saying, you see a lot of times the breakaways, the wings get isolated, but, you know, the Huns have really concentrated on making sure their wings are supported once they make the breakaways. So that's really important out there on the outside to maintain possession.
Scrum to the Blacks. Just under 10 minutes remaining here in the first half, and it is 12-0 Huns. Try courtesy of Brian Welburn and Sandy Taylor. Giemann able to convert on the second from Taylor, but could not on the first as Juricevic kicks it the other way.
He finds one hole in the field, and
DeVet sends it back, but into touch.
With a long touch finder, it's not as far as he wants it, though. It goes out inside Huns territory.
One thing that Coach Laffey said, he goes, we're going to play entertaining try-scoring rugby. He goes, it's not just going to be about getting the W. He goes, we want to win cups, we want to win games, but he goes, we want fans to come out. We want them to enjoy the style that we're going to play.
And that says a lot about the kind of rugby that you're going to see here at Huns Field is, you know, an executing rugby that's entertaining. And one thing that's entertaining today is definitely the defense coming up fast and strong.
They've been very quick to the gain line, not allowing any room. They know that if these Blacks get some room, they can do some stuff. As Coretti hit immediately. Nowhere to go. LeMasters with the tackle.
Masters outsized there, but he definitely isn't out-hearted, huh?
Masters turned 19 just about 2 weeks ago.
Canute trying to snipe the post, and then so there's a knock on there, but before the knock on, there was a penalty.
See the Blacks right at the 22-meter line, but can't get a lot further. Trying to get deep into the Huns territory, pick up a try, but credit the Huns defense. They've certainly been bowing their neck.
Breitenbach anticipated who the pass was going to and tackled the ball carrier before he got the ball.
Breitenbach gets the start today for Rui Branco, the Portuguese international who we saw out last time.
And the only reason we're not seeing Rui today is because he started for Portugal at lock this morning.
Yeah, that's not a bad problem to have.
No, it's not.
Picked up his, I believe that was
his 27th or 28th.
His 28th cap for Portugal. And one of the nicest guys you'll meet. One thing about Ruggers, they're absolutely beasts on the field. Off the field, they're fantastic, and Dori Branco typifies that. Outside, Juricevic. Juricevic keeps it himself.
Juricevic's got a mean step when he wants to, but what's really dangerous about Juricevic is his offload after the step. So,
trying to get
Ty
wide.
Terrazone with the pick and go, looking for support. He finds none.
And another quick whistle.
And Ty Terrazone knocks the ball on at the breakdown there as he tries to pick it up, and it's going to be a scrum to the Huns.
Things not going the Blacks' way here deep into the first half. You see O'Donnell pointing to the head saying, use the head, gentlemen. Play smart. Here it is again.
He knocked it on and took it forward. It just he didn't get it picked up, and that was what happened there.
O'Donnell, another youngster, the former Davenport University man, just 22 years old, is the scrum half for the Blacks. Leading up to this match, the Blacks made no bones about it. They were tired of hearing about the Huns. They said, we haven't lost to them in 24 years at any level, and a lot of publicity here in the capital city has been about the Huns and what they've been able to do, and rightfully so. The Blacks said, we're just ready for the match to start and get out onto the pitch.
Yeah, and there's a lot of talk this week on social media, except one thing that the Huns did is they made sure their guys stayed off of social media altogether.
And that's a very, very wise decision, I might add.
So they not only did they not get on and talk, but they basically disabled their accounts altogether.
Let your play on the field do the talking. That's the best way to do it, and the Huns have certainly done that early as they lead 12-0. Out it goes. And Knetza unable to hold on to it.
Manar, with that nice skip pass after the 8-man take, definitely saw that Knetza had a hole in front of him. And this is going to be a big scrum for the Blacks. They're going to need to win this ball, and probably, here we go with this replay. Passes it out. Knetza, with a ball that he usually catches, just slips through his hands that time.
Just in and out of the fingers of the 24-year-old Martin Knetza. He was the top try scorer out there in the Pacific Rugby Premiership with Ombak, the team we saw earlier this year when they came down to open this elite season for the Huns here at Huns Field. And what a match that was. The Huns with a game-winning try in the final seconds. Coretti straight ahead. Huns defense has been so impressive.
Oh, Rankin trying to dive in from that at that post that wasn't quite set yet.
And the organization from the Huns defense, everybody in the right spot. Just shy of that try line, trying to go straight ahead, not electing to spin it wide, and they will keep it inside. And
that's Sam Rook.
Big Sam Rook able to dot it down, gets it into the try zone. We mentioned Rook earlier. 29 years old, and he is all of 300 pounds.
He gives us a signal that, he knows that he's done it today.
Is the native of England. And he's, as we said, no stranger to scoring tries. If it gets inside about that 5-meter area, look for Rook to get it.
This is the third game that we've called with Rook in it, and he has scored in every game we call with him in it. So...
Well, he was a former A&M Aggie, and he made sure to let us know how many tries he scored when he was with the Aggies in College Station. And he said, I've just got a nose for the try zone, and he does indeed. Here it is.
He gets over Hermerschweiss, who goes under him, and it's just no way to stop him there as he's decided he wants to find the try line. All
300 pounds of the big loose head prop going straight ahead. And now the conversion.
I'm sure Alec Klinghoffer and Johnny Smith are watching this and really smiling at their former product scoring a try like that.
There is, well, that's actually.
Well, he says Troy Mosey, but that's
Sam
not
Rook.
Troy. That's Sam Rook.
He's the loose head prop is Rook.
He had to wear the 3 jersey because
he
it's
couldn't
actually
fit in the
bigger
one jersey.
The one jersey.
Exactly
yeah.
right. And the conversion up and through from the fullback, Adam Armstrong. And then all of a sudden, it is just a 5-point game here in the final minutes of the first half. We've known that to be a problem for a few players wearing jerseys who don't correspond to their position because that jersey simply doesn't fit. Fielded by Jobo at his 10-meter line. Excuse me, his 22, rather.
Sonny Tagler up with the tackle there.
And O'Donnell kicks back. Menard. DeVette at the halfway line.
Stolen by what looks like Sayosi Finau.
So now the hooker gets it back for the Blacks. Blacks looking to build on this momentum and maybe take the lead before going into half. Juricevic, Terrazone.
Terrazone's a dangerous runner, but he goes nowhere there.
Closed down quickly.
Huns are quick to close, or smart to close him down.
Welburn right on him. At the halfway line, who has it? The Huns say they do. Now the Blacks quickly keep it central.
Got Connor Bertrand with that nice offload to Rankin. Almost make the gain line with that, but get driven back, and now the Huns have the ball.
Out it goes. Bradenbach intercepted, all in and out of the hands. Could not control it. Was Comerford.
David Comerford out of retirement, looking for that last cherry pick of his life. Comerford, man, he's been, looking for that every day. Look at this as he comes through. He's like, oh.
And all Comerford sees is green grass in front of him.
And the goalpost.
Comerford, the 36-year-old native Austinite, he has only played for the Blacks. He's never played anywhere else, a lifelong member of this club.
And he's always been a joy to watch every time we've called games with him in it. He's quite a character, and he's quite fun to watch play.
Former University of Texas Longhorn is Comerford.
Comerford was playing at Texas back when I was coaching A&M.
I wasn't going to give a year to it. I was just giving him his due. When you get above that 30 mark, you can just say what they did. You don't have to necessarily say when they did it.
Pulling down on the scrum, and
we'll reach that 40-minute mark, and
he
now
says he's crossing the scrum. Interesting.
Time will be kept on the field by our referee, Scott Green. Not a lot of time remaining here in the first half. It's been back and forth as the kick from Gieman finds itself in touch. Maybe one last opportunity for the Huns here at the very end of the first half. Invite you to stick with us at halftime as we will have highlights from the first half of play and get you ready for the second half here at Huns Field in Austin. The 2017 Austin Inter-City Rivalry Derby Day in the capital city.
Oh, Canute O'Donnell with a fortuitous bounce, but he's tackled into touch by Pierce Reed. Great tackle by Reed. Great kick ahead by O'Donnell. Wonderful stuff.
O'Donnell imploring his side, saying, let's go. Still time in this first half. The whistle is not blown. The Huns got off to a 12-0 lead, and then the Blacks able to come back with a try of their own, courtesy of the loose head prop Sam Rook, and the conversion from the fullback Armstrong. Grant, I've got to ask you, is this As far as what you anticipated, how does this stack up for the first half?
It's exactly where we should be at, 12-7. It's a close match. The Blacks really got to get on the front foot here. They're used to a lot more control in matches than this, and they're going to need to get that if they're going to pull ahead and end it up in the W column.
And to your point, we don't have the stats, but possession has been dominated by the Huns.
I would say that it has, yeah, but I also say that the Blacks, when they get possession, they're devastating. They just need to get it finished next time.
Yemen, Tongo. Hermeshuis unable to hold on.
It's been knocked on by Coretti.
Ready.
No advantage gained.
Coretti didn't hear the whistle. Now finally see the smile, and that will do it for the first half.
Wow, halftime already.
Huns on top of the Blacks. That just flew by.
It did fly by. We're
2017 Intercity Rivalry Derby Day in Austin, and it's going to be a great second half. Make sure you stick with us. The Huns on top of their rivals, the Blacks, 12-7. The Huns have never beaten the Blacks. Is today the day?
Try from Welburn there. And here's the try from Sonny Taylor.
Today is the day I step up to the plate. I choose the right way, the harder way. Not for who I am now, but for who I will become. Rep by rep, I will conquer my pain. Step by step, I will push myself further, faster. I see where I want to go. I can feel my victory, and I know I can, and I will be more today than yesterday. So challenge yourself and keep pushing.
I could tell my daughter to go play outside, but every time she coughed or wheezed or suffered, it scared me, and weekly allergy shots were just as scary.
I used to start my day ready to take on the world, but every change in temperature or rain or wind triggered something in my head. Itchy, watery eyes, headaches. A buddy of mine said I had to go to Texan Allergy.
Drops from Texan Allergy are so easy, so simple.
Texan Allergy put the quality back in my quality time.
Texan Allergy, changing lives one drop at a time.
And all I've done for want of wit, to memory now I can't recall. So fail to me the parting glad. Good night and joy be with you.
Glasses up to my brother Jerry. May God be with him.
Today is the day I step up to the plate. I choose the right way, the harder way. Not for who I am now, but for who I will become. Rep by rep, I will conquer my pain. Step by step, I will push myself further, faster. I see where I want to go. I can feel my victory, and I know I can, and I will be more today than yesterday. So challenge yourself and keep pushing.
Sandy. Oh, that was sexy.
At the YMCA, you can exercise your heart in more ways than one. Because you're building more than muscle. You're strengthening the whole community. So stretch yourself in more ways than one. Join the YMCA in January and pay no joiner's fee. For more than a workout, for a better us, visit joinymcatoday.org.
And all I've done for want of wit, through memory now I can't recall.
So fill to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be with you.
Glasses up to my brother Jerry. May God be with him.
Field first Austin Intercity rivalry of 2017. Alongside Grant Cole, I'm Kit McConico, and the Huns on top of the Blacks 12-7. The Huns have never beaten the Blacks in 24 years at any level. Hoping today is going to be the day as we go and take a look at the first half highlights.
First half highlights, you have a score here from Brian Wilburn. He takes the ball, dives over the tackler of Antonio Wynn and into the corner of the try zone. Wilburn kicks it off early for the Huns with 5 points. And then you see Hanko Herman twice take it out. Definitely timed offload to Sonny Taylor on his feet. Taylor takes it in, gets his 5 points. He had been scored conversion after.
At that point, it was 12-0. Huns on top, and then the Blacks will come back.
And Big Sam Rook diving over, gets over the Hanko Herman twice tackle and dots it down just like the big man knows. And then O'Donnell lined up for the conversion.
12-7 at the half. Second half coming up after this.
Go, Sandy. Oh, that was sexy.
At the YMCA, you can exercise your heart in more ways than one. Because you're building more than muscle. You're strengthening the whole community. So stretch yourself in more ways than one. Join the YMCA in January and pay no joiner's fee. For more than a workout, for a better us, visit joinymcatoday.org.
And all I've done for want of wit, through memory now I can't recall.
So fill to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be with you.
Glasses up to my brother Jerry. May God be with him.
Levy Coretti, he was our key player for the Blacks. He's been held under wraps by the Huns defense. He and the Blacks for almost all the first half. They were able to find a try in the last few minutes, courtesy of Sam Rook. 12-7 as we start the second half. Huns on top of the Blacks here at Derby Day in Austin, Texas. And so please, you could join us wherever you may be joining us from. Alongside Grant Cole, I'm Kit McConico. Adam Ashwees takes the opening kick, and Grant, when we went back and looked at the keys for the game, you might expect by the scoreline, Huns doing a better job of executing than the visitors.
Well, they're definitely executing their skills better. They're making some good tactical decisions, and they are attacking the gain line. All the things that Lofty wants them to do, and they're going to have to continue doing that for another 40 minutes, and this is going to be the test, because the Blacks have always proven to be a second-half team. They'll step it up, and you just can't lay down on them at all. And you're not going to see that today with either team, but it's definitely not something that you can ever give up on.
At the 10-meter line, now close to the halfway line, H.P. Moore. Moore, the Alabama native, only 3 years playing rugby, and what a product he is.
Penalty advantage is on for the Huns as somebody reached in and tried to knock Eric Reed's hand, or Michael Reed's hand from the pass from being on the ground.
And
that's an offsides call.
The Blacks, they're a team that traditionally they get better as the game progresses. They're one of those teams that they take pride in dominating that 60 to 80-minute mark, being the best at the very end. We'll see if they can do that today, as it is warm, almost 85 degrees here in Austin, Texas. But the good news is there's a slight breeze across the field.
Ty Terrazone being told that if his fly half has a choice word for the referee again, he's going to have to see the end of the day.
Scott Green, our referee.
Sometimes known as the Hallmark Man, as he has a card for every occasion.
You've just been waiting to say that, I know.
It's been in the wings.
Well, Masters, he will have the line out for the Huns on the far side, the hooker. One of the junior members of this team. Last year he was in high school. Well, Masters taken nicely, knocked back by Breitenbach.
Breitenbach with the take. He gets in there cleanly, of course. And the ball's out, and Huns have to clean it up. Somebody had taken their eye off of it there. Blacks lost their feet. Looks like Sam Rook come in, or no, it's Eric Reed in off his feet, and over Kyle Breitenbach.
And if the 6'8" lock Reed is off his feet, you're going to notice.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to miss that one, right? Want to give a shout out. Here we go. You're going to see here. The ball's back there. Reed can't see it. Fortunately, Breitenbach cleans it up. And then Rook. And then, of course, now Reed off his feet. So there are 2 or 3 players to choose from there. As I was going to say, I want to give a shout out to Ryan Ginty up in Connecticut, Next Level Rugby. He's watching us from Connecticut, and then from up in Seattle, Washington, Tony Ridnell, the former Eagles 8-man in lock from back in the heydays of the 90s when the Eagles were playing. And guys, thanks for watching from where you're watching and posting up and shouting out to us.
We welcome all of you wherever you may be from, the East Coast, the Pacific Northwest, across the country, across the world, here on the Huns YouTube channel. It's always a pleasure to have your company, and a beautiful day in Austin for the first Derby Day of 2017. Much anticipated and living up to the hype.
Here we go with LeMasters with another throw in.
Taken very nicely. That's I'm Welburn.
It's a maul as they set up, taking the ground. And that's going to be dropping the maul by, well, it's going to say the ball was taken in. It was taken in as a ruck, and then it was sealed.
Fans enjoying themselves. I actually saw a young man over there in a full suit, pretty good looking, very dapper young man in the stands today.
Yes, he's definitely standing out over there. So now we have Marcos Palma coming on for Troy Mussey. Mussey's coming off with some blood on his forehead.
Palma wearing the number 17 shirt on for the Blacks.
Somebody better check what Mussey's hit, because that's a hard hit on that young man. Went for that Texas State product. He's been playing hard rugby around Texas for a few years now, and it's always enjoyable to watch.
Tight head prop and 36-year-old native of San Antonio.
What other game do you ever watch where somebody comes off the field bleeding and with a big old smile on his face?
This is the only one, and that's why we love it so much. Scrum to the Huns, looking to add to their lead early in the second half. Spun out, Gieman. Gieman keeps it in right between. Gieman faked it. They thought he was going to give it to Tongo Tongo. The defense went with Tongo Tongo, and Gieman right through like a hot knife through butter.
Gieman with the dummy in the step there. Wow, that was something to see there. Now you see why France had him as an under-19 player.
He was an under-16 and under-19, a French national team player, the 20-year-old native of Berny, France. Again, you see the dummy. He looked like he was going to drop it off that time to Tongo Tongo. Everybody focused on the big inside center, and came in right between the posts. Should have no trouble here, as he will take the conversion himself.
While this conversion's happening, Eric Reed's coming off for the Blacks, and John Hart, the man they call Hooves, is coming on, the A&M product, who played so many years
Hooves
for the Aggies.
Hart wearing the number 18 for the Blacks, and the conversion up and good. Splits the wickets. No trouble for Gieman, and the Huns back on top now. 19 with the conversion to 7, back to a 12-point lead. They led 12-0 before the Blacks were able to find their first and only try at the end of the first half, and second half starting much way the first did, with the Huns firmly in control.
Gieman's try was an executed and tactical thing of beauty. Nice little dummy he sells. They've been running back to the inside all day. Then he has a step, and then he has the acceleration from the speed change. Just something that you really love to see out of any player on a field.
Hermeshuis from Moore. Hard running from Hermeshuis, the vice captain, flanker. Out, Tongo Tongo with some space. The ball on the turf. Picked up by Comerford.
Comerford just won't go to ground.
Comerford at the 22-meter line. Back to Rook. A big tackle from Tongo Tongo. Maybe the only man who can take Rook down one-on-one. Electing to keep it inside are the Blacks. Jobo. Bertrand.
You don't see Connor Bertrand driven backwards like that very often. Bertrand's probably one of the better sevens in the country.
Bertrand, the former Dallas Harlequin.
Advantage is on for Huns being offsides. As Breitenbach.
Wynn was looking for it.
Advantage remains on.
Juricevic. Jobo.
Taken
nice
down by Matt Moore.
Out he goes to Hooves. Good defending by the Huns. Not let anything happen. Coretti now found a seam.
Coretti with the seam, but he gets tackled. Now Rook again.
Rook.
Is Rook in?
Shy of the line.
He's held up. Rook, who knows where the try scorer, he knew where that try line was. He was in the right place, but he got held up.
Rook already has one try today. He was looking for his second. Take another look.
He saw it. He already had his decision made. And
credit that Huns defense again. I saw Michael Reed, the scrum half, in there.
Yeah, Michael Reed doing a great job holding up that ball, keeping it from being grounded by Rook. It's going to be a scrum with put in to the Blacks. And the Huns are being talked to about their number 4 being offsides on that last little round of play, that round of attack going in. So he's had a word. Scott Green's had a word spoken with them, so he's going to have his eyes on there, and his ARs definitely have an eye on too.
Have to watch the offside, certainly from Breitenbach. Jobo, Coretti, still shy. Waiting for the signal. Blacks have yet to get it.
Blacks are in again, but
And
Reed
somehow able to get it and kicks the other way over the head of Wynn.
And Wynn and
all the way back to the halfway line.
Wynn kicks ahead, and he's got a lot of people that are offsides.
Game it.
Hermerschweiss looking for space.
Offloads. LeMasters.
LeMasters with a step in, step out. That's not LeMasters. That's C.J. DeVette.
DeVette, rather.
It looks like him, as young as they look.
Two youngsters, both in their 20s. Now Breitenbach. Gieman.
With the numbers.
Menard over the halfway line. Menard keeps it himself. Out to Pierce Reed. Reed has it. Reed, nothing but green
Reed.
grass in front of him. Sees the post and dots it down. Does Pierce Reed, the 30-year-old from Houston.
The math teacher does the math on the outside, and he had more numbers than the Blacks did, and he knew it.
Well, credit Menard. Menard, very good job. He had great vision. He waited until the last second and then into the hands of Reed, and Reed did the rest. Pierce Reed there, as you said, the math teacher. I think he knows that a try equals 5.
He knows a try equals 5. And here we go with.
You see the very end of Reed, and Reed, no one, not a Black anywhere around, and will make this, or should make this, a pretty easy conversion for Gieman. Huns now with their largest lead of the day and a chance to add 2 more to it. Conversion up and good. 11.5 into the second half. Take another look.
Menard, he gets the pause, makes Antonio Wynn connect to him, and then Pierce Reed is off to the races. Got a few substitutes going on here. Andrew Heller, the St. Edward's University president, former president and captain of St. Edward's University, has come on to fullback for the Huns for C.J. DeVette.
Heller will be wearing number 23 for the Huns. So 26-7, Huns on top. We've said it a few times. Blacks have never lost to the Huns in any division in 24 years of play. The Blacks celebrating their 50th anniversary this season as Hermerschweiss straight ahead.
He tells Marcus Palma, talk to the palm.
Gieman. Fielded by Armstrong. Armstrong.
Taken down.
Well, Masters that time with the tackle.
Side entry by the Huns there. Telling Mason Peterson, you came in through the side. And now we've got Nathan Rankin coming off, and Dean Nolan is coming on for him for on the Blacks.
Nolan wearing the number 19 on for the Blacks for the first time today.
Rankin, the Lindenwood product from Ireland, has had a great game. He's been everywhere. He's done the hard work. You don't see him carrying the ball a lot, but he's at the breakdowns aplenty.
We talked about that front row from the Huns. I mean, there's some young players. Peterson at only 20 years, LeMasters, the hooker, at 19. Fitzgerald, he's the older statesman of the bunch at 28.
Yeah, the Sydney man in there, 28 years old. He's the old man in there. See Alcy Finau now with the throw in.
He's got some experience playing in his native
Huns
Australia,
into
and now
the end goal. Huns got to get that out of the end goal area, and they take it into touch again for another Blacks throw in. Sonny Taylor did good to get that out of the end goal area.
The line out will be to the Blacks. Got to take advantage. Can't let this deficit grow any larger. Like to take it long and stolen away.
Breitenbach loves to get up in there if that throw's not. Advantage is on for the Huns because the ball was not thrown in straight.
Gieman, kick finds touch.
With a long touch finder, kicks away his advantage.
Here it is. You see Breitenbach again.
He's just waiting. He's like, I'm just going to get in there and scoop it up.
Read it perfectly and took it.
It's the reverse sky hook.
From Kyle Breitenbach, the 23-year-old lock for the Huns. A lot of support of both of these teams here today. Out watching the D3 and D2 matches earlier. Now staying on to watch this Division I Elite match. Coretti able to hold on. His pass behind to Armstrong. Armstrong.
Into a sea of white jerseys.
Over the 10-meter, but shy of the 22.
Mussey's back from this blood bin.
Coretti. Still on his feet is Coretti.
And now Nolan with the take from Coretti, and he drives around the side.
And the Huns have it. Menard. Big Dion Menard. Time and room over the halfway line. Offloads to Pierce Reed. Reed around win. And Reed finally brought down. He lost his footing or he would have been off to the races again.
Patient rugby from Reed. Tane Juricevic, though.
Here it is one more time. Take a look.
And
Menard finds it.
And then he has it out. Now we're going back to play here. And Mason Peterson driving ahead, and he scores a try in the corner.
Peterson diving for the corner, dots it down. Does the tight head prop. And the 20-year-old from Long Beach, California, the Wilson High product with his first try for the Huns. Take another look.
Got the ball out, and there's Mason Peterson. He's just going to
Peterson
power over. Jamel Shaw is just no match for Mason Peterson.
Would not be denied. He got a great ball from Taylor.
Now the Blacks with another sub, bringing on Vince Dutton, who had a stellar game for the Blacks D2 side before this match. He's coming on for Levy Coretti.
I mentioned Peterson. He's a former on-back player. He got to beat them in his first game in a Huns uniform here at home in Austin, and his Huns career in the capital city. It's off to a great start.
You know, and that series of plays started back over here at the 20 in the Huns 22 with Menard taking that John Hart knock-on forward, getting it out to Pierce Reed. Reed getting high tackled by Adam Armstrong, and then once the Huns saw that the high tackle was theirs, Timothy Gieman, he's got a live ball. He's trying to reset. And he drop kicks it, and he still gets the flags up.
What a kick from Gieman. The 20-year-old Frenchman draws the crowd's approval, and rightfully so. That was incredible.
Wow. You know, he took a step forward without asking the referee when the ball fell down, so that means the ball's live. They can charge forward on the ball, and he does it right here.
Take a look.
And now that he knows it's live, he's going to take that drop kick. That's 37 meters out.
Into the wind, I might add.
Into the wind, and he still puts that through. That was some brilliant stuff.
What a kick from Gieman right there.
Welburn with the take now.
And almost halfway through the final 40 minutes, the Huns 33, the Blacks 7.
Vince Jobo with the little footers. Plays a little footy there.
Jobo over the halfway line, keeps it. Out he comes to Juricevic.
And the Blacks need to have a sense of urgency.
Cuts back inside, does Juricevic. Finds Terrazone. Terrazone faked the grubber over the 22.
Terrazone's not somebody who's going to grub much.
I think the Huns knew that was not going to happen. They stayed with him. The Blacks, this is the time when they traditionally dominate a match in the final 20 minutes, and they're going to really have to, trailing.
Pick and jam here. They're going to try and work on possession, maintaining low possession, but Offsides is called.
And Jobo and Welburn having a friendly exchange.
Just saying howdy. You know, Welburn's saying welcome to Austin, you know.
I'm sure he was. He's a friendly guy. I've known him a while. Jobo straight ahead.
He's trying to dive in for that try. Now Mussey.
Defense standing strong for the time being. Right at the gain line, but unable to make anything of it. The Blacks know they've got to get a try.
Manage his own.
3 points will not be enough. They need 5 and the conversion. And there's the signal. Scott Green gives it, dotted down, and it was the head coach, Tani Juricevic. Juricevic, the fly half with the try for the Blacks. Only the second try of the game for the Blacks. They had one to end the first half.
We've got some substitutes coming on for the Huns now as Breitenbach and Matt Moore come off. And Craig Welburn and Corey Momsen come on.
Juricevic doing a great job. He spun between Michael Reed and Peterson, neither able to get a hand to him. A wily veteran. There's a reason he's the head coach as well as the fly half.
Cut his teeth in Scottish rugby and mostly playing sevens over there, and that's really his forte. But as you can see, he doesn't mind having a little techers when it comes time to.
Yeah, he's a member of the Tartan Army's under-19 sevens national team there, the Aberdeen native. The conversion from Armstrong raises the flags as it splits the post.
33-14 now. The Huns are still got it up over the Blacks, but the Blacks got a little momentum going on here, and so the Huns can't lay up on them.
Don't go anywhere. We are in store for a great finish.
Well, as we saw with the Hun back, and still with the even though we weren't here, the Huns versus Reds match, it comes down to the wire, so we don't expect it to be any different today.
Certainly not in a Derby Day match. As much on the line as there is between the Blacks and the Huns. It is bragging rights in the capital city. And it's something the Huns have been wanting for 24 years, and they're hoping today is the day.
Tim Fitzgerald's coming off for the Huns now, and Troy Spencer coming on.
Spencer wearing the number
16.
16 comes on. Usually occupied by our good friend Bradley Yandel, but
he'll be there in a minute, I think.
Huns line out. Welburn able to knock it back to Reed. Gieman all the way back to Taylor. Taylor, almost intercepted.
Heller.
Into the hands of Heller, the Hilltopper. The other way, looking for some space. Peterson.
Peterson wrapped up by hooves.
Back to Heller.
Oh, Sonny Taylor with a rare knock-on.
Taylor almost always sure-handed, but not in that rare instance.
And he's
Armstrong, quick restart for the Blacks.
Quick tap by Adam Armstrong. Pressure still being applied on defense.
Mussey finally goes down.
Mussey's not a guy who's going to go down easy. He's a strong dude and definitely going to fight for it the whole way.
You see the weather starting to take an effect on the players. It certainly is on Brian Welburn. He's been all over, has the lock, number 5 for the Huns, and it's a warm day. They had a little bit longer break at half. They took that time to rehydrate as best they could, but now the weather really starting to show.
Drying us off pretty good. Is drying us all out pretty good too.
Mussey will have to come back off. Mussey, the second time he's had blood on his forehead. The first time they were able to clot it pretty quickly, and trainers will have to attend to him again as there is a Hun down on the field.
And Bradley Yandel, as I said, soon to come on. He comes on for Troy Mussey.
So your fellow Devil Dog, Bradley Yandel, wearing The 16 comes on, the 32-year-old native of Nashville and former Ole Miss Rebel.
He's one of the most delightful people in Texas rugby. I really got to say, he does a lot of good work. He, the fundraiser for Rugby Texas that he did a lot of work in for the Meet the Eagles here in Austin last week. Did a lot of work, got a lot of sponsors in. He's really a hard-working guy when it comes to rugby in Texas.
And that was Craig Welburn, the twin brother of Brian, now both in there in the pack.
And I think there's a rule against that, isn't there? Against having two twins on the field at some time. Don't the Huns have a rule about that?
Well, if they do, they're in trouble. You've got the LeMasters and the Wellborns.
Well, the LeMaster brothers aren't on at the same time, but
you've got both Brian and Craig. The good news is Craig wears 19 and has a beard, so we can differentiate a little bit. It was impossible when they were in high school, I can tell you that much.
So it looks like the Blacks have moved Sialsi Finau to loose head prop and have put Bradley Yandel in at hooker, which is probably his natural position when it comes to that.
Just under 15 minutes remaining in the regulation 80.
Mason Pedersen getting dinged and given a free kick to the Blacks for an early entry.
O'Donnell, Nolan, up to the halfway line.
Penalty advantage is on for a dangerous tackle.
Outside to Terra zone. Juricevic.
Offsides for advantage. Offside advantage now for offsides.
Now Yandel. Shadows growing long. Blacks hoping that not the case with their chances of getting the victory. And a big tackle from LeMasters brings down Juricevic.
I think Connor Bertrand doing what he does so well, being right there when he needs to be to move the ball forward.
Comerford.
Advantage is off now. They've gained the advantage from both the dangerous tackle and the offsides by the Huns.
Just shy of the 22-meter line. And as we predicted, the Blacks starting to grow in strength as this game progresses. More opportunities is their time. Armstrong. Stood up by Momsen and LeMasters.
Maul is called. It's taken down. And since Blacks took it in, could not produce, it's called held up, so it's going to be a scrimmage to the Huns.
As Welburn finds himself with it, Craig Welburn, I should say. We'll see Mussey coming back on shortly for the Blacks, now donning a scrum cap.
3 Huns holding the player up. He's trying to go to ground, but it's just Maul's already.
Welcome you back there. A few technical difficulties, and we appreciate you bearing with us. Score remains the same. Derby day here at Huns Field in Austin between the Blacks and the Huns. There's a black down on the pitch being attended to by the training staff. Players will take the opportunity to get some water and try to rehydrate for the remaining 13-plus minutes of this match.
Player down on the field is, and Scott Green's talking to Captain Terrazone about dangerous play at the scrimmage as the player tried to come across the front of the scrum at an angle, and that's basically, he got himself in a bad position there. And
hard fought as all these matches are, safety always paramount. That is indeed the key here.
Yep.
It's one thing you've got to always thank the coaches and more so the officials, making sure that everyone able to continue, everyone able to get back out on the pitch for the next coming match. And, well, the Huns, they will be on the road coming up. They will head out to Glendale to take on the Raptors next week. This is the third and final game of their 3-game homestand. They started things off this year, and, well, they were up at the Dallas Harlequins, emphatic in their victory, 65-8. And then you and I had the on-bat game here. It took them to the final minutes, but they got the win.
Final seconds.
Final seconds. You're exactly right.
We were in extra time when that game was won.
The fans looking on, enjoying themselves at this beautiful facility. And then you and I away last week, but they still got the win against the Dallas Reds.
And as the medics attend to them, we want to say what a beautiful day today's been. You can't, in February, this kind of weather is amazing.
Well, you mentioned people you know up in Connecticut. I guarantee you it is not 80-plus degrees in Connecticut.
Nor in Seattle, Washington.
Nor in Seattle. My brother resides in King County. It is cold and wet there, I can assure you. And in Connecticut, they are shoveling snow. There's nothing like Lone Star State weather, especially in the winter. Come August, well, it's 110 every day. We'll take it.
Huns are making a change at halfback, it looks like, as Aaron Bone and Jody Reyes come on. And looks like they're coming on for
we'll have to see as medics still attending to the Austin Black down on the pitch. I believe it's Martin Knetza coming off.
Yeah, Knetza's coming off, so that means Jody Reyes is slotting into the midfield, and Eric Michael Reed as well. So they both had stellar games today, so they got nothing to be ashamed of. And then look at big Robert Drummond coming on.
Drummond wearing the number 17 on, so the Huns bringing some fresh legs on for the final stretch. Michael Reed, the scrum half, also coming off for the Huns. You never want to speculate in any injury situation, but certainly our thoughts and prayers with the player down on the pitch. Grant, we go back and take a look at the keys that we mentioned earlier. For the Blacks, score fast, often and early.
They didn't do that.
Win the set pieces.
Not getting done.
And disrupt the Huns' game plan.
Sometimes, but not consistently. And that's if they would have done those things, perhaps this being going a different way. When they did disrupt the Huns' game plan, it definitely went the other way for them.
And for the Huns, it's all about ETA. No, that is not estimated time of arrival.
It's execution of skills, tactical decision-making, and attack the gain line. They have done that today, and you can see where they haven't done that. They've made mistakes, turned the ball over, and they've not done what they want to do. They need to make sure they continue to do that ETA and do it very basic, and that's really what Laffey wants to see more than a W. He wants to see that execution, that tactical decision-making, that attack the gain line.
You mentioned Laffey, Eugene Eloff. He said, I love this quote, "My mother may be the only person who calls me Eugene. To everyone else, I'm either a Laffey or coach." And what a great man to have in charge of this now elite Huns team. He was the former U19 Springbok head coach. He talked about those big victories over the Kiwis of New Zealand. He has great experience, and he's bringing that to the Huns. We're seeing that pay dividends on the field.
Yeah, and he's definitely bringing it on with the younger players, and he's really got a heart for the youth side of the game. He understands that if you're not growing that, you're not doing anything.
And the Huns taking this time to stretch out, trying to stay limber, trying to stay warm.
3 years ago, we had a Texas State guy come out. A lot like that.
Players, you can hear them over here, starting to stiffen up a bit and doing the best they can to keep the blood flowing. So when we return for the remaining 9 minutes of this match, they'll be ready to go.
So, one of the things about the Blacks that I really like is they've been here in Texas rugby for 50 years now. At the USA versus Brazil match at Dell Diamond, the Austin Blacks and Galveston Rugby were honored for their 50-year commitment to the game. A half century to the game in the U.S. when the game just basically re-kicked off in the late 60s. That's a huge thing, and the Blacks and Galveston really were instrumental in setting that foundation for Texas rugby.
Well, talking about the Blacks, they're one of the oldest, they're one of the most prestigious and successful clubs, not just in Texas rugby, but in U.S. club rugby.
Yes.
They are two-time. They've been in the D1 Men's National Championship game 2 consecutive years.
In the last few years.
Years.
It's not the only 2 times they've ever made it
They've
there.
been in it 5 times total. And last year they fell to a good Massachusetts side, and then the year before to Nyack. But if you're going to make the national championship game back-to-back years and 5 times total, that just speaks volumes of the quality you have every single year.
And it is huge. I mean, they definitely have a commitment to the game, and they bring a lot to it. And that's why in a game like today, you've got to bring everything the whole 80 minutes, and you can't slack off at all.
Just about 9 minutes remaining as Medic's still out on the pitch. We've said it numerous times. The Blacks, one of their coaches said, is it a rivalry if the other team doesn't win? Well, you've got a good point there. That 24 years the Blacks and Huns have played each other. The Huns, they've never won at any level. But today may well be the day here on their home pitch that they break that inauspicious streak.
Still a lot of talking and speculation out there from different people.
As we mentioned, safety first and foremost. And again, we apologize to those of you who we lost momentarily, had some technical difficulties. And hopefully back up and running at full strength, as we will be for the remainder of this match. We will have all the Huns home matches here on their YouTube channel, and hope you'll join us as the season progresses. We'll take a break, and we'll be back for the final 9 minutes after this. Huns on top of the Blacks, 33-14.
At the YMCA, you can exercise your heart in more ways than one. Because you're building more than muscle. You're strengthening the whole community. So stretch yourself in more ways than one. Join the YMCA in January and pay no joiner's fee. For more than a workout, for a better us, visit joinymcatoday.org.
Co-signing? Oh, that was sexy.
I wished I could tell my daughter to go play outside, but every time she coughed or wheezed or suffered, it scared me. And weekly allergy shots were just as scary.
I used to start my day ready to take on the world, but every change in temperature or rain or wind triggered something in my head. Itchy, watery eyes, headaches. A buddy of mine said I had to go to Texan Allergy.
Drops from Texan Allergy are so easy, so simple.
Texan Allergy put the quality back in my quality time.
Texan Allergy, changing lives one drop at a time.
Welcome you back to Huns Field here in Austin, out on Nixon Lane, just east of Highway 183, east of downtown. This beautiful facility. And again, our most sincere thanks to the president owner, Richard Osborne, and Terry Dalpin, the GM. They've done a great job making this such a wonderful facility. They're always updating, always adding. You see the stands there in the background, a great place for the fans to come out, enjoy these matches. They've got food, drink, pregame, postgame, music, and festivities. I invite you to bring the family to come out and join us as we are in the 31st minute here in the second half of the 2017 Inter-City Rivalry. Derby Day in Austin, Texas, if you will, and the Huns on top of the Blacks 33-14. We have stopped play as there's an injured Black down on the pitch. And Grant, one thing I've said is take a look at the fans there enjoying themselves. A beautiful day here, just shy of 85 degrees. Cooling off a bit and a nice breeze, making things more than bearable. Rugby, it's the fastest growing team sport in the country, and we're starting to get those young players in it. And a lot of people said that is what is going to give us long-term success. Forever, we were kind of behind the big rugby countries in the Southern Hemisphere because we didn't have the young talent. You look at some of these young men here that have started playing when they were 4 and 5 years old for these various teams. But getting the youngsters in, is that what's going to make us successful in the national or the international level?
Well, I will have to say yes. It's one of the many things. It's not the thing, but it is one of the most important things out there. As Dan Payne so rightly says in all of the speeches, his what I call stump speeches, as he goes around the nation talking about what his vision is for rugby, he really wants the youth game to grow immensely. Getting more youth involved gets more parents involved. That grows the fan base of rugby immensely, just like soccer did 20 years ago. And it also makes sure that we have more players playing young. You know, back in 2007, the average age of the player being introduced to rugby was 19 years old in America. That's just the 80,000 players at the time who were in rugby. Their average age to start playing was 19. Now it's down to 15 and 16 years old. We really need to get that average age down to 8 and 9 to really get that explosion going, so we can have that talent coming up. And then the more important thing, and if you listen to Laffey talk about this, it's getting these our best coaches coaching at the lower levels, at coaching the youth, coaching the high school, and then coaching the college, and making sure that these guys are technically sound when they come to the upper levels of rugby.
Laffey, you mentioned the head coach of the Huns, Eugene Eloff, and he said Sevens rugby has had a huge impact on rugby in the U.S. because all of a sudden U.S. rugby fans see that they can compete, they can go to the Olympics, maybe win a medal. Is that what's going to trigger the next phase of growth?
I don't think it's so much sevens as it is everything. I mean, sevens, everybody's going to talk about sevens because it's easily digestible. That's one thing, and it's definitely in the Olympics. But honestly, if people get out here and see this atmosphere in the 15s game and see the social, it's very important to get them involved with that as well. We're going to go here to a little try package to show the tries that have been scored in the second half. Here's a try by Timothy Gieman with the fake, the step, and the acceleration, and he's through to the middle. I mean, that's what you want to see out of a fly half inside the 22.
Take the offload to Tongo. Everybody went with the big inside center, and Gieman, no problem.
And then Pierce Reed, open space in front of numbers. This is what a wing's supposed to do. He's supposed to finish it off and take it to the center to make for an easy conversion. And then Mason Peterson with the drive. He beats Jamel Shaw, and Jamel Shaw is just doesn't have enough in him to stop Peterson coming through. And then finally, this is the Blacks as Tane Juricevic with 2 spin moves and a drive, and then he just falls down and dots it. Great try there. I mean, 2 really good fly half tries in this half that we've seen. It's wonderful stuff.
That gets us to where we currently stand in the 31st minute of the second half. It's the Huns 33, the Blacks 14. And just 9 minutes of regulation remaining in this one. Players trying to stay limber, trying to stay loose, keep the blood flowing for the remaining portion of this match. And the Blacks, well, the Blacks an average age of 29. The Huns, it's just 24 and a half, so that may be an advantage for the Huns. But as we've said numerous times in this broadcast, the Blacks, a team that pride themselves on finishing strong. Omani Tongo, native of Auckland, New Zealand, the captain for the Huns. 33-year-old former professional player in his native country, there with the Auckland side, and then played professionally in Japan for almost 5 years before coming stateside.
Tongo, the money man.
The one thing about rugby players, they have fantastic nicknames.
Oh, yeah, they do. I mean, and you know, we haven't even seen Cankles come on yet.
You've just been waiting for that. I know.
Yeah.
From the starting lineups, as soon as you got to mention that in the reserves, you've been waiting for him to come onto the pitch.
Well, I've known Phil Hansen for a few years now, and ever since he was a freshman at A&M. He was a solid player then. He's a solid player now. He's just one of the nicest guys come out of A&M rugby.
My question is, if there's anyone in the state of Texas that participates in rugby that you don't know.
There's quite a few. I mean, there's quite a few.
I find that hard to believe.
There's a lot of people out there, you know.
Well, as fast as the game's growing, maybe.
Yeah, I don't get to know everybody.
There's that young man I mentioned earlier in the suit. He's putting us to shame.
I know, right? I mean, I was pulling my sports jacket out today, and he looked at me, and he went back in his room and changed clothes and came out in a suit, and I was like, oh, my goodness.
And that being said, we must say in the interest of full disclosure that is your son.
That is my son. That is Grant Michael Cole in the suit there.
Who he himself, a rugby player, had a match last night, a high school game.
Yep, had a JV match last night. He got to play, so
I think that's a great thing. As you're in the Houston area, I'm in the Austin area, but following Texas rugby and seeing the updates on Facebook, on Twitter, and all the matches last night, you've got great teams, the Woodlands and Katy and Houston.
Toddy. This is Dynamo we're seeing here, one of the grand old men of rugby in Texas. He's the chairman of the board of Austin Blacks Rugby, and he started off at Texas A&M as well. There's a reason he's called Dynamo, because he's got a real motor when he's on the field, and the man's given so much to the game. It's hard to imagine anybody who's really given any more than.
There's Dave Comerford. We saw momentarily the outside center for the Blacks. As we will take another break and be back with you shortly here at Huntsfield in Austin. Final 9 minutes of the match. The Huns on top of the Blacks, 33-14, and the first Derby day of the year here in the inter-city rivalry.
At the YMCA, you can exercise your heart in more ways than one. Because you're building more than muscle. You're strengthening the whole community. So stretch yourself in more ways than one. Join the YMCA in January and pay no joiner's fee. For more than a workout, for a better us, visit joinymcatoday.org.
Co-signing? Oh, that was sexy.
wished I could tell my daughter to go play outside, but every time she coughed or wheezed or suffered, it scared me, and weekly allergy shots were just as scary.
I used to start my day ready to take on the world, but every change in temperature or rain or wind triggered something in my head. Itchy, watery eyes, headaches. A buddy of mine said I had to go to Texan Allergy.
Drops from Texan Allergy are so easy, so simple.
Texan Allergy put the quality back in my quality time.
Texan Allergy, changing lives one drop at a time.
Back at Huns Field in Austin, still on the injury break. With here into the second half, and the Huns on top of the Blacks 33-14. And it has been the Austin Huns started quickly, and they've been able to play very well in the first half and the second. They've only allowed 2 tries from the Blacks. One at the very end of the first half, one here in the second. Looking for their first ever victory in this inter-city rivalry.
One of the things, tell you about how relaxed Coach Eloff is about his team today. He took a 17.3-kilometer walk jog before coming to the field this morning. He loves his long walks around the city of Austin. He really likes the scenery when he gets to walk around some of the different trails here.
Well, like most good coaches, they'll tell you all the work has already been done. We put the preparation in. All we can do now is go out and execute to the best of our ability, and they've certainly done that.
They've definitely had the day there to do that, yes.
You see the EMS on site now assisting the injured Blacks player. Again, we make no speculation on this. We just thoughts and prayers with the injured player and his quick recovery from whatever has befallen him.
I believe that is Marcus Palma, who is down and is getting attention.
Palma, the number 17, he came on as a second half substitute. The fans out there couldn't have asked for a better day here in the capital city. This beautiful facility just east of downtown Austin.
There we see the Huns still staying warm.
Such a family-friendly community out here. And talk about the food available from Casa Chapala, and got the drinks, and then the pre-game festivities, the post-game music. It's a wonderful atmosphere. It's great to be a part of it.
It is. It is really nice to be a part of it. It's something else.
The players, they've been trying to stay limber, loose, and warm for over 20 minutes now, and we'll see how that ultimately affects them when we do, at some point, restart play.
And and the referees have had some time added on to the clock here. So when we start back, we've got 12 minutes left.
There will be 12 minutes. It was 9, then the officials adding a few. So that's good news for the Blacks. They're going to have to come out very quick out of the gate if they're going to come back and have a chance to come away victorious today.
This particular time is going to be worse than golf.
Yeah. I was asking if the window for Spectrum was going to be over.
50th anniversary of the Blacks, established back in 1967. The Huns just 5 years later in 1972. Two of the older, more prestigious clubs in the state of Texas. Well known, well respected, and certainly understand why. Ty Terrazone says, I don't know when we're going to go back, so I'm just going to try to get a bit of rest now, the former Air Force fighter pilot.
Have you seen his Diamond Shamrock commercial?
I have not, and I'm going to find it this evening.
It's on YouTube, and he's standing there next to an F-15. He looks so handsome.
Of course he is. You've flown an F-15. That's, I don't know what can top that.
That's a beast of a bird to fly, man.
Now the player being assisted off and getting a round of applause from the fans here in attendance. So both teams made numerous changes in the last few minutes before the injury.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be some fresh legs coming on for this last 12 minutes. And so it's going to be a little bit of a battle. And, I mean, the Blacks aren't out of it yet for sure.
And Grant, to that point,
I've seen them score a lot of points in 12 minutes before.
I put you on the spot. Well, it wasn't on the spot. You had time to prepare earlier. Your keys. What are your keys for the last 12 minutes for both of these teams?
The Blacks are really going to have to grab the momentum and own it. If they don't, then if the Huns are allowed to do what they've been doing all game, then and just eat up possession and maintain possession and just work it down the field slowly, then it's going to be a long day for the Blacks. But I think the Blacks have it in them to step up and make this last 12 minutes count. They've done it before; they can do it again, and it's definitely not out of their wheelhouse.
Well, they haven't had nearly as much possession as the Huns have, but when they've had it, they've been very explosive.
Yeah, and that's what they are. They are explosive on that, and I mean they've had a lot. I mean, one of the things the Huns have done is deny them possession, and that's one of them. I mean, the Blacks, when they have possession, they're going to be a scoring team, and they're going to be an attacking team. I mean, you've seen they've made 2 or 3 forays inside the Huns 22 today, and really had a hard time making scores out of it. So it's something that they can do. The Huns are just playing some stellar defense at times, and then you've got the times in close where the Blacks just maintain possession, keep punching until they found a way in, which they've done twice today.
And arguably the Huns defense has been the most impressive thing we've seen today. They've been so well organized. They've always been in the right spots, and you mentioned that the forays from the Blacks inside the 22 meters, but they've only been able to come up with 2 tries.
It's definitely been a better defense than we've seen in any Huns team in the past years. That's for certain.
The Huns starting to click. Mentioned all these new players added to their team, and now that they are an elite side, and to that, well, Grant, we got a little time. We may have some Major League Rugby coming to the U.S. here on the horizon sometime soon.
Definitely, it's something that's coming about. It's a little bit different concept than most. A lot of people think it's about the clubs. The clubs are only affiliated with these commercial entities that own the Major League Rugby. So it's definitely going to be something that's different from what we've seen before, but not a different business model than what is out there in other sports enterprises in the world or even in America.
We've talked about teams like the Glendale Raptors, who the Huns will visit to play next week on the road. These Austin Huns, Chicago Lions, Dallas Griffins, Houston Strikers, Kansas City Blues, New Orleans, Rugby Utah, and the Seattle Saracens, as we are ready to get back to play. And 12 minutes remaining in the match. Huns 33, Blacks 14. And the kick from Geeman finds itself into touch.
And finds a Hun supporter who catches it with his head. He seems none the worse for wear. That's one of the reporters over there in the media section.
Well, you can tell he's new to rugby. He would know if you're in that vicinity, you've got to pay attention.
You got to be paying attention for that kick coming, yeah.
He was looking the other way, checking his notepad, and all of a sudden the kick from Geeman.
Menard with a clean take.
Geeman. Hermeshuis taken down by Jobo.
But he doesn't stay down. He rolls right back up.
Hermeshuis back on his feet at the 10.
And this is what the Huns want to do. They want to maintain possession.
Taylor.
They're being patient. And that's just smart ball.
Bone.
That tactical decision-making in the ETA.
Brian Welburn over the 22. Oh, great tackle from Armstrong. Brings Welburn down.
That's going to be a penalty against the Huns as Welburn did not release that ball when he got tackled. Momsen was there to definitely get the ruck over, but Welburn did not release that ball, and Welburn's not getting up real fast.
Welburn not yet back on his feet. He had eyes for a try, and that ball
bounced into touch. Andrew Heller was caught out of position there.
Took a few bounces and finally into touch. There is Welburn on all fours. The training staff attending to the former Westlake High School chaparral.
And it looks like it's time for Phil Hansen to make his entry into the match.
We talked about the mustache of Antonio Wynn. No slouches, Mr. Hansen. With his facial hair. Straight ahead, Mussey making meters.
Mussey coming back from 2 blood bins with a headgear on.
Comerford.
Advantage is on for offside by Pierce Reed.
Juricevic knifes through. Oh, his pass picked up by Mussey, and thankfully so for the Blacks. Outside to Armstrong.
Blacks have numbers if they want to use it out there. Penalty advantage is on again for a dangerous tackle.
Blacks coaching staff telling them to hurry. No time is of the essence. Quick tap, and back to the action from the Blacks. Juricevic shows off the shifty hips, but taken down.
Yandel with the pick and go. He makes a meter or 2 out of that.
Making meters, but shy of the try line.
Ball's knocked on in that breakdown by a Black player.
That'll give Phil Hansen the opportunity to come on for the Huns, wearing number 18.
And look at those brilliant cankles he's got. His former rugby buddies at Texas A&M are going to love that one.
He will take over for Brian Welburn.
Welburn looks to have a little bit of a crick. Aaron Bone now with the scrum half duties for the Huns. All of 5'3", 145.
But
Bone
tough
is
as nails.
He is something else. Manar out to Tongo.
Lomani close to that 22-meter line. Back to Guillermin over the outstretched hands of Comerford and into touch.
Kelly Hodges there. Marks the touch well. Looks like they're right on the 22.
Wynn getting ready. The line out coming for the Blacks. Yandel will take it.
And the Blacks have put Bertrand and Jobo into their back line, and Jobo looks to be favoring an arm.
Jobo took a shot earlier. He was down for a while. Had to come off. Now back on. Tipped away. Menard got a hand to it. Hedemashwis with room to go. Hedemashwis looking for the offload. Ahead of steam. Cuts back. Hanko Hedemashwis over the 22. Hanko all the way and down for the try. What a run from the 20-year-old vice captain Hanko Hedemashwis. His second try of the day. A thing of beauty.
I tell you what, he owes Dion Manar a beer after this match for this. He goes up Manar with the steal here, tips it back to Hermerschweiss. Hermerschweiss steps in. He's out of the way there. Yandel with the chase. I mean, you got to give Bradley Yandel everything. He never gives up here. Grabs the shirt, but it wasn't enough. Vince Dutton, not going to be enough to take Hermerschweiss down.
And the speed from the 6'1", 230-pound open side flanker, absolutely incredible. You see it there, the junior All-American, originally from Kimberley, South Africa, and he's going to be, thankfully, wearing the red, white, and blue for the Eagles. He is an absolute stud, is Hanko Hedemashwis.
Tell you what, man, he definitely has everything you want in a flanker there, plus some. You love seeing that kind of speed out of a flanker. Too bad there's not anybody to come on and take his place, because he definitely deserves a 5-minute rest after that.
Well, his countryman Manar, the Pretoria, South Africa native, was able to tip away the line out and gave Hedemashwis the opportunity. And now, Guillermin with the conversion.
And it's gone a little to the right there and
pushed it to the right. But Hanko Hermeshuis, it will matter not to him. He's still hands on knees, sucking wind, trying to get it back. That was incredible. He just turned on the afterburners.
So we're seeing Vince Jobo come off, and Connolly Meat McKay coming on, the Baylor product and the Victoria native.
McKay, the 36-year-old, wears number 20.
That's a high hanger, and it doesn't go 10 meters, so it's going to be a scrum center. And that's one of those things that you can't do late in the game like this.
You'll see that big tunnel.
With less than 5 minutes remaining, that may have been the clincher from Hermeshuis.
Great shot of Phil Hansen and his cankles there.
I don't know whether he's paying you to say that or he's going to be unhappy.
He's not really.
Also with the guy going out in the ambulance.
I'm sure his coaches are getting a kick out of this, right? His old coaches are getting a kick out of this right now.
Scrum center to the Huns. Spun out to Tongo Tongo. Guillemot finds Reed.
Reed stays in the field of play.
Quickly the other way.
Drummond now bringing it up at the angle.
Big man. Taken down quickly on the turf. Over to Reed. Reed fakes, cuts back. Offloads to Menard. Menard back to Reed, intercepted, picked off by Wynn. Wynn, great read of the pass.
Dutton now. He's finding Armstrong. Armstrong's a man to have it here. He's going to do a little chip kick.
And picked up by the Huns. LeMaster's with it. Back to Bone.
Hermeshuis now. Oh,
Hermeshuis at the 22.
This is brilliant stuff. Not just keep playing to the end.
Drummond. Guillemot. Tongo Tongo.
Just working the ball down, and that's going to be knocked on by Comerford.
Comerford, he was anticipating the pass from Heller to spin it further to either Menard or Pierce Reed.
So instead of the knock-on, we're going to call right there. He's calling Comerford accidentally offsides and scrum to Huns there. So he took the accidental offsides before he took the knock-on, and now Canute O'Donnell comes off for the Aberdeen native, the Cal Berkeley product, Zach Triplett.
Triplett, the 30-year-old. He and
Zach Triplett played his day at Cal with such greats as Colin Hawley, who's calling a match himself at Whitterfield today, and Eric Fry, who plays prop for the Eagles, or has played prop for the Eagles.
And his head coach, Terrazone, share the same hometown, and Triplett wearing the number 22 now on the pitch for the Blacks. Bone, Guillemot, now Pierce Reed. Bone out to Tongo Tongo. Still on his feet. Over the top.
Taylor trying to keep it in, and he's gone to touch.
Taylor, he was right on the sideline. That was well placed, a little chip kick from Guillemot.
Couple of minutes left here in the game, and Blacks get a line out.
Jamel Shaw.
So it's a knock-on by Taylor, or knock-on by Jamel Shaw. Yeah, you're right. And so the scrum to the Huns.
Shaw indeed with a knock-on. The Huns looking to add to their lead here in the final few minutes. Fans getting into it, imploring the Huns.
Tongo finds the seam, and he's through for the try center.
The big man, Lomani Tongo, his first try of the day. He says, everybody else is going to score. You're not going to leave me out of the party.
Captain wants his due.
The captain, as we take another look.
This is just great execution of set-piece play. Jody Reyes coming back inside for the cell. Tongo straight through the seam he created. Good stuff there.
Lomani Tongo, the Kiwi, native of Auckland, New Zealand. He'd been bottled up for a lot of today, and you've got to credit the Blacks, but there at the very end, Tongo found the seam and right through the middle. Now Guillemot, the conversion, no trouble whatsoever as he splits the posts.
And that is full time at Huns Field in Austin, Texas.
It took 24 years, but the Huns got their first ever victory over the Blacks in the inter-city rivalry. Derby Day in Austin, Texas, and the Huns victorious by a final 45-14. What a day for rugby in the capital city, and what a day for the Austin Huns. Their captain, Lomani Tongo, caps it off with the try.
Thanks a lot, guys.
For Grant Cole, for our entire crew, we thank you so much for joining us. We'll hope you join us for the Huns' next home game, all of the Huns' home games throughout the season here in the capital city. Austin Huns get the win. It took them 24 years, as I said. First time in any division they've been able to beat the Blacks, but they did it in emphatic fashion. Huns on top of the Blacks. That'll do it for us. Thanks for joining us from Austin. 45-14, the final.